Hey guys, what's up? You know, even though I haven't watched the episode yet, I did DVR it and I plan to record it later on. Probably not tonight because I don't know when my mom is going to come back from shopping at Kohl's because Kohl's has a discount event going on again with my older sister, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Probably just do it tomorrow, like I usually do. But anyway, I pretty much have heard enough from what people have said about the Big Mac question and seen plenty of clips and stuff. And basically, the Big Mac question, just give my general thoughts about it from what I've heard, from what I've seen. The Big Mac question is, to me, probably the best example of the culmination of building a relationship on screen in a very organic, natural way. I mean, here's the thing. When we first officially meet Sugar Belle, of course it's in the Cutie map, and she's kind of under the control. Although, is she? I'm not really sure. I have to go back and watch it. But she seems to be one of the people, or one of the ponies under the control of Starlight when Starlight was evil. And she's also one of the ponies that comes to the aid of the main six and the town at the end. So that's our introduction to Sugar Belle. The next time we see her, I think, is in at the end of the Cutie remark, when Starlight kind of starts, gets a second chance of redemption and apologizes for her actions. And then I think the next time we see her is to where and back again when Starlight returns back to her village for the summer sunset celebration or something, festival. Not the one that we get in the final season. But yeah. Basically that. And honestly, I don't think any of us expected much out of her. So when it was revealed that the pony that Big Mac had a crush on and Hard to Say Anything was Sugar Belle, and maybe we got hints, I gotta go back and rewatch it, that she might have felt the same way about him but wasn't too sure yet. And that is until only naturally at the end does she see the real Big Mac and his willingness to help out and do things that are just the right thing to do, like kind of fix the shelving at her bakery or something, family's bakery or something. Yeah, to the point that that's something that really attracts her to him. Like, whoa, I didn't expect this. So, yeah, just being himself and just doing what he does best is what brought Sugar Belle to him, and vice versa. So yeah, the Hard to Say Anything being the introduction to the relationship and how they got together. You may or may not like the episode, but to me it was probably the best way to kind of begin the relationship, give it a natural start, a comedic start at times as well. And then throughout the series you would get moments here and there, like the following episode you see them walking up a hill from Apple Acres, and you see this little, like, what looks like a wedding arc or something like that. Can't think of the name right now, in the background, but that doesn't really mean anything, but it could, if you will, because if you see something that looks like an arc, like a wedding-like arc or something like that, and you see just in the background Big Mac and Sugar Belle together walking up a hill, it makes you wonder, were they hinting at something? And I think we should have known that they were. And then, of course, we had a few moments after that, with season 7, and then came season 8, and we had some moments too, as well. We had the breakdown, which was the second part of this trilogy, because that's what this was. It was a trilogy. Let's just be honest, it was a trilogy. So we had that, which is when you tell this kind of a, multi, seasonal arc, romance arc, or love story, if you will. You got to go through the phases. You got to go through them falling in love, falling for each other. You got to go through the misunderstandings and the near destruction of the relationship and love to where we get to the point that we get at now. And honestly, again, despite how you might feel about Hard to Say Anything and the breakdown, these are the natural progressions. So, and from what I understand, a lot of people did like these episodes. Some didn't, that's honest, because it felt a little awkward at times, with the moments that they had. But there were a majority of people that liked it, because this is a natural progression if you're going to tell this overarching love story throughout multiple seasons. Then, of course, after breakdown, we get some more moments in the background with them, especially with Best Gift Ever as well. And and I want to address Best Gift Ever because I know people pointed this out. The fact that the animation staff, and I don't know if the script called for it as well, but the animation staff adding that little heartache moment with Mabel, not Marble, but Mabel. I mean, not Mabel. Marble. Yeah, Marble. Being a little saddened at seeing, Big Mac and Sugar Belle under the mistletoe. And one has to, and I will put it like this. And as you've probably been telling, I'm doing this unscripted on the fly. I will say this. I can understand why they put that moment in there. It's kind of like a throwback to the heartwarming episode called Hearts Breakers, when the Pies and the Apple families came together officially. And there was a little bit of a tease maybe of something between Marble Pie and Big Mac, but never went anywhere. And it's kind of interesting to see that moment, because I can recall, I don't know if it was Saber Spark or AC Race Best or whoever, but they pointed out when they were watching the Crystalline doing the reaction video, or participating in the reaction video to the Crystalline from season 6, and they heard what Applejack said about Twilight being practically family, and that anybody related to Twilight is practically family, I should say. One of them basically stated the fact that AJ has to be careful what she says because they're not sure about the pie, and there's possible evidence or teasing of incense, and that incense of course being Marble and Big Mac. But again, that never went anywhere, and I want to address that moment there because again, that moment is a reference to it, so you can kind of understand maybe Marble's heartache at that, because perhaps she still had feelings for Big Mac, but she never had the courage to say anything. So I don't know. I think that moment, honestly, guys, was just thrown in there to, be a reference back to the Heartbreakers Christmas episode that they did. But besides that, we had moments in there where they were under the mistletoe, they were next to each other in the opening song. They were looking out the window or looking out the door at the night sky on the eve before heartwarming together. So there were moments. There were moments thrown in there. And then we get to season 9 and we get some moments here as well, like during the Last Crusade, where all the characters that CMCs have helped and have been associated with throughout the years come together, and we see Big Mac and Sugar Belle with their, next to each other lovingly. We had the moments, and you knew that if they were going the route they were going with the story, that it was going to inevitably lead to a wedding. And this was and this being the last season, you knew that that's probably what we were going to get, and guess what? That's what we got. And again, it's a natural progression. It's a natural progression from start to finish, and in between you have these little moments in the background with the characters that kind of solidify it. And so with Big Mac Question, I like the idea and the direction they went with, because like Dr. Wolf said, it feels like they're talking to the camera, they're talking to the audience, and explaining this whole situation and how things went and everything. That being, of course, Spike, the CMCs, Discord, Mrs. Cake. They're all explaining their sides of the story on how all these things came together to make the wedding of Big Mac and Sugar Belle a reality, and how they all kind of contributed, messed up a little bit along the way. So I like the fact that they took that direction where it seems at first they're talking to us and explaining, okay, this is what happened from my point of view. From this is what happened, and Discord, you take it from here. CMCs, you take it from here. Da da da. Basically they're all giving their own perspective, connecting those perspectives as well to kind of tell the overarching story of how they got from point A to point B when it came to making sure the wedding, became a reality. And what they pointed out throughout the episode is something that we've seen in media before, whether it's live action or animation. When it comes to a moment like this, is you have one, if not both characters, kind of throwing little hints here and there through little love letters, little nukes, and little tidbits, here and there. Little notes, sweet notes and all that between each other, hidden in pies, hidden in flowers, whatever. So again, everybody contributed. So everybody basically explaining what happened and them trying to overall contribute in helping Sugar Belle and Big Mac get to this moment, I thought was a good direction for them to go in. And as Dr. Wolf and I'm sure and Dark Horse KC have pointed out, the person that they're talking to is not us, not just us, the audience, although it seems like that at first. But the one they're talking to is Applejack. And I'm surprised Ashley Ball didn't have a line in here, as far as I know. But Applejack, she's very touched by this. She has tears in her eyes. She's very touched by this. I mean, obviously she knew about the proposal, and that's why she's all set up and ready. And I like what they give her, because they practically give her I think of her galloping gala look, where she has two ponytails and a blue hat and everything, blue bonnet and dress. So I like the fact that they gave her that design, because honestly, if there's any kind of design that kind of gets her out for a tomboyish kind of way, it makes her more, in my opinion, feminine. No offense in that, but more feminine, more naturally, like, she could basically put that tomboyish side of her aside for a while. It's this moment. I mean, Simple Ways basically showed she can do that when she pretended to be Apple Jewel. So, but anyway, like I said, no offense in saying that, but anyway, point is, I like the idea and the direction that they went with by giving it sort of a pony point of view like scenario, but instead having each story connecting to each other. Like Mrs. Cake would tell her part of the story, it would connect with the CMCs and vice versa. Discord would tell his part of the story, it would connect with Spike, so vice versa there as well. So I do like that. And I love the idea. I love the idea, honestly, folks, that the proposal takes place. Big Mac and Sugar Belle proposing to each other simultaneously at the same time takes place underneath the intertwining pear and apple tree that we saw in The Perfect Pair. And the fact that you had a light shining through that heart-shaped arc in that intertwining tree. You had a light, the sun shining right through. That to me is symbolism, as crazy as it sounds. That is symbolism of the parents looking down and approving of this. And being happy for Big Mac, being happy for Sugar Belle, knowing that the Apple family is going to continue into generations to come. To me, that symbolism of the sun shining through that heart-shaped arc in the intertwining trees of the pear and apple tree. To me, is the parents shining down, smiling, and giving the blessings, if you will. It's basically, as we would say in reality, God shining his light down in approval. So, to me, I like that moment, and I like the idea that the wedding is not a big deal. You just got close family and friends there, which I'm kind of surprised we didn't get the rest of the main six, but whatever. It's still basically a simplified wedding, close family and friends, very reminiscing, believe it or not, of the wedding between, Bright Mac and Pear Butter, or Buttercup, if you will. So I like it's very reminiscing, same spot. The only difference is you have the seeds that were planted individually, or planted simultaneously by Bright Mac and Buttercup. You have now in place, like I say, you have the tree that's intertwined. So I like that everything just, overall, as far as the Apple family story goes, overall, I love the fact that it comes full circle. It comes full circle, and I love the fact that Mayor once again conducts the wedding. Again, it's a very simplified wedding. You have friends, from Sugar Belle's side of things, friends and families from Sugar Belle's side of things in her village, attending. You have, from the Apple side, you have, of course, the Golden Gals, the Golden Horseshoe Girls, along with Granny attending. You have Burnt Oak there. You have Grandpa who's there to make up for the fact there because, he wasn't there for his own daughter's wedding. He just interrupted it and tried to, get her to break it off. And now he's there to see his grandson tie the knot in the same spot his daughter did. So I love that. And I love the fact that Applejack, again, is there to support her brother, of course. And then, and that but Big Mac also included Spike and Discord because those were his two best friends, mostly Spike. Spike, being his best friend. Because it makes you wonder, because being his closest friend, I should say, out of the two. So I like that. And I like the fact that I think Spike was, dressed up in a tuxedo, basically like a best man. So essentially Spike was Big Mac's best man or best dragon for this wedding. Sugar Belle didn't have a maid of honor. I don't know if Mrs. Cake may have been that, in honor of the fact that Mrs. Cake was, Pear Butter or Buttercup's best friend. So I don't know. But it's good that they included her because she was part of the original ceremony as well. So again, everything just comes full circle. And overall, except for one little part that we're going to get down the line next week, and I'm not going to say what it is to avoid any spoilers. This is a great conclusion to the overall Apple family story arc. It is. I mean, we've seen Apple family related episodes throughout, if not centered episodes, I should say, related and centered episodes throughout the run of the series. We got basically the origin of how the Apple family really came to be with the perfect pair, and now we have it all coming full circle with basically Big Mac and Sugar Belle tying the knot so that the Apple family can continue on into the next generation. So basically now, guess what? Sugar Belle is now, I guess you could say, Sugar Belle Apple or Sugar Apple now. Who knows? I don't know about that. They do acknowledge that weddings, just like in real life, names can change a little bit, can be altered. Like Spoiled Rich used to be Spoiled Milk before she married Filthy Rich. So yeah, she became Spoiled Rich, and Mrs. Cake was Siobhan Swirls, and when she married Mr. Cake, she became Mrs. Cake. So one can only assume that maybe Sugar Belle is going to be Sugar Belle Apple, or now she's just going to be Belle Apple or Sugar Apple. Who knows? But again, I'm happy that they went this route though, and I'm happy that the overall, as an overall story arc throughout the entire series, centered on the Apple family. I like the fact that it's a great conclusion. Was it unfortunate that Ashley Ball, I should say, didn't get to voice Applejack, as far as I know, in the episode? Yeah, it is disappointing, but I like the fact that she's the one that gets the story told to. Because here's the thing. Again, it's reminiscing of the perfect pair. It's reminiscing of the perfect pair when Burnt Oak, Mrs. Cake, Mayor, and all of them tell the parts of what happened, that tell all their own individual parts of how Bright Mac and, Buttercup came together and got married, and how the family began initially that way, or the family that we know now initially began that way. So I like that. I like the fact that we kind of got something similar in that retrospective, if you will, or in that perspective. So overall, though, overall, in closing, I like the fact that we ended the episode this way. Ended the Apple family arc this way. Overall, except for, like I said, one little moment that's going to happen next week, but I'm not going to give that away. So I like it. I appreciate it, and it shows that if done right, if continuity is followed correctly, you can get something good in the end. And again, I like the fact that you had all these characters that became close with the family, with the Apple family, with Big Mac and Sugar Belle. I like the fact that they all contributed in this episode. So overall, great episode. I have not yet officially fully seen the episode. I mean, I do have it thanks to the early accesses and Yarden disc, so I can watch it at any time. But overall, just a good kind of closure. Very good closure. So to the Apple family overall, in my opinion, overall Apple family story arc in the series. So that's about it, guys. I know this video went long. I do apologize. It's about right now 22 minutes and 35 seconds. So I do apologize. Take your time with this. But let me know what you all thought about the Big Mac question and how you felt about it, and the direction they went with telling the story, and how did you feel about this being the overall conclusion, in my opinion, of the Apple family story arc that has spanned throughout these 9 seasons. Let me know down below, comment if you like, and I'll talk to y'all later.